Hi guys, welcome back to episode number 4 of the weekly playback. I was out of town last weekend, so that's why I didn't make a video then. So I have a couple of games to talk about, so let's just get into it. So the first game I'm going to talk about is Azul Summer Pavilion, if I can just get it. So up until a couple of weeks ago, the only Azul I had played was the original Azul, and I do think that this one is so much better. So I don't know if you guys have played this one. I've never played the stained glass one, by the way, so I can't comment on that one. So in terms of the original and this one, I think this one is better. And by the way, if you do have this game, I highly recommend going on Etsy and buying this tower. It is amazing. It's a 3D printed tower because the little cardboard one it comes with is so flimsy, and I just do not see that holding up over time. But this tower is seriously gorgeous. I just seriously love it, and it holds all the tiles. So yeah, so this Azul I think is better because I feel like the decisions you have to make in this are more, okay, I'm just making a mess here, are more difficult, and I think it's a bit more strategic than the other Azul, the original Azul. So you are making more strategic decisions, and there are, you know, tiles in the center here as well that you can try to draft, not just from these coaster thingies, and you are trying to fill up stars. And the way you do it is, just to give you a very quick overview. So when you're drafting tiles, you still draft them in the same way. However, there is a wild tile color in each round. So this board tells you which color is going to be the wild tile for that round. And when you draft all the tiles of a certain color, if there are wild colored tiles in that round on that coaster thingy, then you can take one of those as well. And the wild tiles help you to get as many tiles as you need to be able to place one. So if you are trying to place, say, 5 blue tiles, you could use, if a blue tile is the wild tile in that round, you could use, say, 4 blue, or sorry, if a different color is the wild tile in that round, you could use 4 blues and a purple tile if purple is the wild color. And then you would discard all of them except for the one tile which you're going to place there. So it is harder to fill up these stars, and they're worth a lot of points in the end. So they go in difficulty and point value. So I guess pink or purple, whatever that color is the hardest to get. So that's worth the most number of points. And yeah, so it's a, and I wonder if that's because, oh, it is. So because purple is the first wild color, it is going to be worth the most points because I guess people in the beginning are trying to get that tile because it's the wild tile and they can use it as a different color in the first round. So for that reason, I think it's harder to make a purple star. So maybe that's why if you get a full purple star, it's worth the most amount of points. Yeah, it does go in the, oh no, actually, because then at the end you have red being the last color and blue, but they're reversed over here. But up until then, it went in the same order. Huh. But oh no, oh sorry, that's the center star. Oh no, so it does go in the same order. Okay, so there's blue here, then red, then the center, because there's the center one. Sorry, I messed up. Yeah, so yeah, it does go in reverse order in terms of which colors come up. Okay, so yeah, I'm just babbling on. So yeah, so it's definitely more strategic, and there are opportunities for you to try and earn tiles from this board here if you complete putting tiles around windows here, or statues, or pillars. So yeah, so it's definitely a way more strategic game, and you have to be way more careful about planning your moves in this game. I feel like, yeah, there's just more to it, and I just think it has more replayability value than the original Azul. So yeah, I definitely prefer this Azul to the original. Okay, so yeah, so that was a game I've played a couple of times now. The next game I will talk about, I've now played 3 times and I absolutely love it. It is called Lines. Oh, sorry, I should probably mention player count again. So, and the designer. So Azul is designed by Michael Kiesling, and I believe it's just 2 to 4. I don't think you can play it solo. Yeah, I'm sure someone might have come up with a solo mode on BGG, but I have not played it. So here we go. Lines of Lydia, designed by Johnny Pack and illustrated by Daryl Jones, and it is 2 to 4 players. The first time I ever played it, I played a 3-player game of it, then I played a 2-player game of it, and then I played a 4-player game of it. I do want to mention when you're playing a 2-player game of it, just do remember the errata which appears on the BGG forums. If you're playing a 2-player game of it, instead of just 1 meeple of every color at the fountain to start with, you need 2 meeples of every color at the fountain to start with. So in this game, you are basically, it's a bag building, engine building game, so you're drawing meeples from a bag and you're putting them on this board at the gate or at the fountain to perform various actions and to trade resources and coins to try to basically advance, and you're trying to flip over these cards that you are buying. So you're buying development cards and I think they're called development cards. I can't remember what they're called. But you're buying these cards, and on one side, they're worth a lower amount of points, and the trading value is less. And then when you are able to develop it, you get more points at the end of the game for it, and your trading value during the game becomes better. So you are trying to basically, you know, accumulate resources so that you can buy more and more properties and develop those properties and hopefully win the game with the most points. So the game end triggers when a certain player has developed a certain number of properties depending on player count. I have done a 1-minute overview video of it, so you can go find it. It's a really good game and it goes by so quickly. I feel like there's a lot of like player interaction in this because, you know, you could maybe take a meeple that someone wanted from like the fountain. Someone could take a card you wanted. That definitely happens every single time you play, because when you are drafting, when you are buying cards, there's 2 rows of cards on each side of this board. And if you are buying multiple cards in one go, they all have to be from one side. You can't buy a card from here and then a card from here and a card from here in the same go. So if you're planning on buying 2 cards in one turn, they both have to be from the same side of the fountain. And there's definitely been times where someone has taken a card that I really wanted, and especially if it was an end game card, the purple ones, which are end game bonuses. And if you were working towards something, yeah, that kind of sucks, but I like that. So I like when you have that kind of player interaction. The components in this game are super awesome, but yeah, it's a really great game. It like plays so fast. So every time I play this, it goes by so fast. Even the 4-player game went by really fast. There's very minimal downtime in this, unless of course you're playing with someone with serious AP. But yeah, it is a really great game, and it deserves a lot more attention than it gets, because I do feel it is very much an evergreen game. So when you play a game and you just know it's a classic, this is one of those games. Like you play it and you just know it's going to be a classic game. But let me just show you the board where you keep track of all your resources. And once you get 6 resources of any one kind, that triggers a bonus where you can go up on this track, on this bonus track, or you can develop a property for free. So when you develop a property, you pay the same cost that you paid to originally buy it in order to develop it. So yeah, it's a really great game, and it comes with a bunch of modules, which I haven't had a chance to play with, because each time I play this game, I end up playing with new players, and I keep on thinking, well, you know, since it's their first time playing, I should play just the basic game without the modules. But eventually, I hope I'll end up playing with the same people so that I can hopefully try out some of the modules as well, because I really want to. So yeah, so Lions of Lydia is a really great game, and I say check it out. So the next game I will talk about is, and I'm super excited to talk about this game because it is so good. Let me just get it. Camp Pinetop. So if you are looking for an amazing game with a summery theme, I highly recommend Camp Pinetop. And just so you guys know, I am running a giveaway for this game, and the last day for the giveaway is today when you are watching this video, July 31st. I will be announcing a winner on August 1st. I'm also running a giveaway for public market. So you have 3 chances to enter on Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram. You will need to scroll back a bit to find the post. Maybe I can retweet the post on Twitter one last time so it's more towards the top of my feed, so you don't have to scroll way back. But yeah, so basically you have those 3 platforms that you can enter on, and you can watch the video that explains the rules. So yeah, you can either enter to win this game or public market. I haven't played public market yet, but this game is oh so good. I mean, it's like seriously good. So you are little campers, and you are trying to advance from the possum badge all the way to the badger badge. So in order to advance, you have to earn certain badges. So there are, I guess maybe I should pull one out for you guys to see. So there are certain badges that you are going to have next to your board. There's different types, and as you can see, like there are circle badges here, There's going to be circle badges, there's going to be square badges, and then these diamond badges. The diamond ones are harder to earn. So you are going to have a board made up of locations. Let me show you some of the locations. And you are going to be moving your camper around over these locations and trying to also collect cards and then spend cards in order to get the badges. So when you're hopping over various locations, you then have the opportunity to pay the cost down there in order to earn a certain badge. And you need to earn certain badges in order to advance your troop or whatever, your animal. So in order to go from possum to skunk, you need to either have 2 circles, 2 squares, or 2 diamonds. So you just need to complete all of the requirements in a column. The arrows mean that it needs to be the advanced side of the badge. So basically you have to earn the badge again. The tricky thing is, as you're advancing, you are losing your hand limit size. So you go down from an 8 to a 7 to a 6 to a 5, and it gets harder and harder because the triangle badges are really difficult to earn. So it's recommended in the game that you try to get those first. And it was a very tight race. So basically whoever becomes a badger first wins. So when I played this as a 2-player game, and it was really great as a 2-player game even, I highly recommend it. And when I played it, the opponent I was playing against was focused on starting to collect badges immediately, whereas I was more focused on trying to get more and more campers out onto the board. So I was worried as he's getting badges and I'm focused on getting more resources and getting out campers. I really thought I would be so far behind, and usually I really suck at board games, but I was 1 turn away. So he won the turn before I did, and if I had just had 1 more turn, I would have won. So it was a very tight race in the end, and I seriously highly recommend this game. Like, it was just so much fun. I absolutely love it. And I just want to show you guys a couple of the cards. Let me see if I can just find my favorite card. Well, this isn't my favorite, but Firefly Falls. The artwork on these cards is just adorable. Let me just show you my favorite if I can find it. Ah, here it is. Constellation Creek. I love it. I love it. Yeah, so yeah, it's a really great game. So yeah, definitely check this one out. I know that there's another camping themed game that came out this year called Summer Camp, and everyone's super crazy about that. I have not played it, but I'm sure it is great. But this, if you're looking for a camping game, highly recommend. So yeah, sorry, let me just put these away before I move on to the next game. So yeah, so do enter the giveaway if you want a chance to win this one. Oh, sorry. Okay, I'll focus on this later so I don't waste your guys' time. Okay. All right, the next game I will talk about is Spirits of the Forest. So I did a video for the expansion to this, the Moonlight, the Spirits of the Forest Moonlight. I can't remember if I did a video about the original, so I'll just give a quick overview of it. So you have a bunch of tiles laid out, and these tiles have symbols on them. They have spirit symbols and power symbols, or just spirit symbols. So a tile can have either just spirit symbols or a spirit and a power symbol. And you are trying to collect all the symbols, because what you are trying to do is, if you obviously win this game, but if you by the end of the game do not have every single spirit that is available in the game, you will lose 3 points. And in order to gain points, you have to have the most of that spirit symbol. So not only do you have to ensure, and the same applies with power symbols as well. So not only do you have to ensure that you have all the spirits, but in order to try to win, you have to try to get the most of one kind, but also make sure that you just have all of them. So you don't want to focus solely on getting just one kind and lose sight of getting all of them, so that you end up losing 3 points for each spirit symbol you don't have. You have these crystal tokens that you can put on tiles to reserve them for future turns. The way you pick up tiles is you're going to have a few rows of tiles, and you can pick up a tile from any end of a row. And you can pick up either one tile that has 2 spirit symbols on it, or you can pick up 2 tiles that are matching in color that have only 1 spirit symbol on it. So 1 power symbol, 1 spirit symbol, but they have to be the same type of color tile. So yeah, so it's a bit of a tricky game, and reserving tiles, you know, adds a lot of strategy to it. And if you want to take a tile that someone else reserved, you can, but then you will lose one of your crystals permanently. And there are also spirit tokens that are upside down on some of the tiles, which you'll keep secret because they could add to your total points points overall, but they do not contribute to the minimum requirement to help you avoid getting those -3 points. So it's a very pretty game, but definitely more strategy to it than meets the eye. So yeah, I highly recommend Spirits of the Forest too. I really like it. It's a really nice small box game. The next game I'm super excited to talk about is Meadow. I had been seeing people buy this, and I had seen that it was sold out everywhere, and then my friend at my local friendly local gaming store said that they had 6 copies in the back, which they had never put out, and so I was super excited and bought one right away. Oh, it looks like I got a little bit of a dented copy, maybe. Okay. Anyway, so this is a really great game. It's a set collection game, and I actually just did a video for it, so please do check out the video. But basically, you are trying to create these beautiful, like, nature setting things by collecting cards. You're trying to add cards on top of other cards by looking at the symbols, making sure, oh, a snake. Ew, I hate snakes. Well, I mean, I don't wish harm on them. I'm just afraid of them. Yeah, you're just trying to get the right symbols in your area so that you can, you know, pick more cards and add more cards on top of them and stack them on top of each other and, you know, get the most points in order to win. It is very strategic. So you have 5 turns per round. There are multiple rounds in the game. When you take a turn, you have to decide whether you want to take a card from the main board, and then you can also place a card. It could be the card you just took or a card from your hand, or you can use your path token. So when you take a card, you use your path token and you take the card. There's going to be a grid of cards, and you will slot this into a row or a column, and then you will get to take that number from that row or column. So obviously, if you've done that, no one else can go in the same spot as you. And then the card immediately gets replenished anyway. So yeah, so there's going to be a board with 2 sides where you can fit in your path token, and then just on the bottom. And so you can take a card, or you can use your token to go around a campfire to take the action on the bottom of these tokens. So I'll just go over the different actions quickly. And if you go to the campfire, you cannot then take a card unless the action allows, sorry, you can then not place a card unless the action allows you to, or take a card. So this token allows you to take 2 road tokens, which you need to be able to place certain landscape cards. This token allows you to take any card from the grid of cards. This one allows you to draw 3 from a pile and keep 1. This one allows you to place down 2 cards in your player area, and this one allows you to repeat the action of one of the other tokens. So you have 5 turns to really try to, you know, strategize and do what you want to do. But of course, there's multiple rounds. The game does get harder because halfway through the game, you will swap out the south cards for the north cards, and the north cards are worth more points, but also more difficult to complete. What else? Yeah, it's just a really great game, and I really highly recommend it. You know, don't let the artwork fool you. It's absolutely stunning, but it's also a very strategic, very good game. Like, you know, you really have to think about your decisions and how to use your tokens. And of course, if a spot gets taken up, like if all the campfire spots get taken up, which they can, then you might be stuck getting a card you don't want. So yeah, it's a really great game, and I highly recommend Meadow. Like seriously, I'm absolutely in love with this game after just one play, and I seriously cannot wait to play it again. If you have any questions about any of these games, because I know I just went over them super fast, then please feel free to leave any questions or comments in the comment section below, and I will answer them. There's one more game I want to mention, which I don't own, that I got to play. It's called The Little Prince Make Me a Planet. It's a tile laying game. The drafting mechanism of the tiles is interesting because I only played a 2-player game, so maybe in the 3 or 4-player game it's not as interesting. But yeah, like the first person would decide which groups of tiles he would want to pick up. He would pick up 3 of that group. He would examine them, put one face down in front of him, then I would get to examine the other 2 and then say, okay, I want this one, but then the other tile would go back to him, and then I would, wait, am I messing this up? Because then I feel like I had the choice to take the face down one that he put. There was something interesting about it. I think I'm messing it up, but there was something interesting about that. But anyway, otherwise, it's just your tile laying game where you're just trying to get certain points by, you know, having certain items. You even draft your scoring tiles. So scoring tiles get drafted as well. Yeah, and you just need to be wary of those baobab trees. If you get 3 baobab trees, which I accidentally did, then you have to flip those 3 tiles over and then they just become blank and obviously will reduce your score. But despite that happening to me, I still won by 1 point, I think, or was it a couple points? But yeah, I just really like the game because it just, the Little Prince is a story that I really love. And I even wrote a paper on it in grad school. So yeah, so that was a fun little game. I think it's out of print though. And then I played some filler games, which, like Coup or whatever, so I'm not going to talk about those. But yeah, so these are the games I have just talked about and played because So anyway, so that's it. So yeah, so now let me go on to the games that I am backing. Okay, let's talk about what I am currently backing. Not much actually. So Tranquility the Ascent is still there because the campaign has not ended yet. It ends on August 2nd. And in addition to that, I'm only backing one other game, which is, I know it's going to come as a surprise, Spires and Hildegard. I know it's a narrative game where you are putting down cards and you are just basically, it's like those books you used to read when you were a kid or maybe you didn't, where you choose your own story, right? So it's a choose your own story game, very minimal. It's just a bunch of cards and some dice, but the artwork is what got me. So I know I said I'm not into narrative driven games. I'm not into like storytelling games. I'm more into just kind of like strategy board games. But the artwork was just so amazing. If anyone knows me, they would know that I'm a huge fan of Halloween. And there were some cards in this game that had these amazing looking pumpkins on them, like these spooky pumpkins. And I was like, I just need this game because of the pumpkins. Those pumpkins look amazing. Like seriously, like I am obsessed with Halloween decor. Like I just love Halloween so much. I think it's like my favorite holiday, and then maybe Thanksgiving afterwards because food. But yeah, so that's why I'm backing it. And I think I'll probably end up keeping the pledge for that reason. If I end up not liking it, then I could just always, sell it after one play. But I think I'll like it because I really enjoyed those kind of storybooks when I was little, where you just kind of choose your own story. So are you guys backing this? I hope I'll like it because I know I don't enjoy other kinds of narrative driven games, like where you have to do a lot of stuff while the story is unfolding. Yeah, that's not my kind of thing. There's a campaign which is very tempting. It's the big box of Architects of the West Kingdom, which I love. Which I can't say it's my favorite because I haven't played Paladins of the West Kingdom yet. But now I've played Viscounts and Architects, and I still need to make a video for Viscounts. I would say Architects is my favorite out of the two. But do I need the big box and the new expansion? I don't know. I'm just trying really hard to save money because I just feel really broke right now. So I don't know. Are you guys backing Architects of the West Kingdom and the expansion? Let me know if you are. Maybe your decision will influence mine. So yeah, so let me know. And let me know if you're backing anything, because yeah, I know I don't have much to talk about. Maybe I should just start talking about campaigns that look interesting that you guys might be interested in backing, even if I'm not backing them, so that the section is a bit longer. But for now, that's all. All right, let's go on to questions. Okay, so I actually did not get too many questions this time. So I actually don't even know if these were questions meant for me to answer in this video segment, or if you guys just were like, just making casual questions in the comments and just wanted me to kind of answer them there. But I'll answer them here anyway, even though I kind of answered them in the comments already. So there was one question about whether I would ever consider doing any kind of board game essay videos. And then I asked this person what he meant, and he explained, and I think that sounds interesting. It's like kind of taking a topic in board gaming and doing research on it and then talking about it. So, I mean, it would kind of feel like being in school again, but it would be really cool to put out like a very nice, polished, edited video talking about an important topic in board gaming. I think I would like to do that related to a topic that is important to me. Maybe something to do with the Middle East or Muslims in board games, like how they're represented or something like that. So I think that is a great idea, and I might, try to do that someday when I have time. I think that's a really great idea. There was a question asking if I play digital games. When the pandemic first started, when lockdown first started, I did hop onto Board Game Arena and played way too many games of Takenoko, like so many that I got sick of it. And I really love Takenoko. So yeah, and I played a couple of other games on Board Game Arena. I've played games on Tabletop Simulator. I've play tested games on Tabletop Simulator, on Tabletopia as well. it's not something I like to do, to be honest. I do find Tabletopia a bit easier to use than Tabletop Simulator, and I had grand ambitions of playing so many games on Tabletopia, which never happened. I told people, oh, if you want to play a game with me, then please let me know, and I would love to play a game with you. And then I found that first of all, having to sit there and play a game in one go, it's kind of hard for me to find the time to do that. And then playing a game where you're playing asynchronously. Did I pronounce that right? Asynchronously, so whatever, you know what I mean. Not at the same time where you can just take your turn and then the other person can take their turn. That I found difficult to do because I tend to procrastinate, and I'd be like, all right, I'm going to take my turn, and then too much time would pass, and then I would feel really guilty that this person has put in the effort to play the game with me, and then I'm just not putting in the effort in return. That happened quite a number of times. So if you're watching and I did that to you, I am so sorry. I really thought I would be good about it, but I wasn't, and I'm really sorry that I got your hopes up about that. So, if people ask me now to play a game, I say no, because I know I'm not good about it, and I will avoid playing digital games at all costs if I can. I'll play a game on Tabletop Simulator if I absolutely have to play test a game, but definitely don't want to. That's not something I want to do. I absolutely find Tabletop Simulator really annoying to use. So yeah, so that's my answer for that. Someone asked if I'm Persian. I've discussed this in a few previous videos, so I will just briefly explain my ethnicity and why I kind of have a connection to Iran, even though I do not identify as Persian, but I do have a connection to Iran. So I'm Muslim, as many people know, but I'm also a descendant of Muhammad, who we consider to be the last prophet on both sides of my family. So I'm a descendant of Muhammad from my mom's side and from my dad's side, and I have family books that can trace my ancestry. So I can see where my ancestors lived, what years they lived in which cities, how many children they had, what their professions were, when they migrated, just, basic family history stuff. I can see that going back all the way to Muhammad, which is like year 600 or something like that. So I have that on both sides of my family. And so I can see that, so technically, my blood is Arab. So my ancestors migrated from the Arab, because my family has been Sayyid, which is what they're called, descendants of Muhammad, they're called Sayyid. So my family has been Sayyid on both sides, pure blood Sayyid, for since the time of Prophet Muhammad. So I can trace my ancestry back to him, and I can see that my ancestors migrated from present-day the Arabian Peninsula to present-day Uzbekistan, which was part of the big Persian Empire, and from Uzbekistan to present-day India, and then from present-day India back a little bit to present-day Pakistan. And my parents were born in Pakistan, but I've had great aunts and uncles and grandparents who lived in Iran, and the reason I have a strong connection to Iran is because I am Shia Muslim. So there's two big sects in Islam. One is Sunni Islam and one is Shia Islam. And the Shias are the ones that you will find primarily in Iran, Iraq, Lebanon, and Pakistan, and to a lesser extent other countries. Lesser extent in Pakistan as well. So Shias are persecuted in places where they are a minority. So they are persecuted, and face discrimination in places like Pakistan and certain Arab countries, and like the United Arab Emirates, Saudi Arabia. They are, considered dissenters and are killed if they speak up or try to practice their religion, because certain things that Shias do are considered to be forbidden by extremist Muslims in Saudi Arabia, who then kill people like us. So yeah, I don't want to get all political, but an interesting fact is that more Shias have been killed by Muslim extremist terrorists than non-Muslims have in the entire world. I had an uncle who was murdered by the Taliban many years ago. So yeah, so we are victims of the extremists as well. So but that's the reason I relate more to Iran than to, say, a place like Pakistan or Saudi Arabia, because I am Shia and Iran is a primarily Shia country, and because my ancestors were there, and I studied Persian history and politics and I did my master's degree in it. I was about to get a PhD in it. I've visited the country because of my connection to it. So yeah, so that is kind of the connection that I have there. But technically, if you had to be technical, my blood would be Arab, I guess. So yeah, so there is that. So there's no more questions, but I just wanted to address some of the negativity that I'm still getting on the internet and elsewhere. So firstly, I just want to say that I think it is brave when people speak up about any kind of difficulties that they have faced in this industry, whether that is sexual harassment or abuse or any kind of other difficulty. So someone did that yesterday, and I took a quote from that person's post and I said something about that quote. So I'm just going to read the quote because I think it is important. So this person talked about some abuse that they feel they faced in this industry, sexual abuse, and at the end they wrote, "Remember, when you say you're advocating for inclusivity and safety but continue to allow these traumatic behaviors, it is simply performative and virtue signaling." And I quoted that and said, yep, and that should apply to all kinds of traumatic behaviors from all kinds of people. I am not trying to turn this into an all traumas matter kind of thing, but I did want to emphasize that quote because it is important and it does apply to all kinds of traumatic behaviors. But the thing is, there are double standards in this industry. And when I have spoken about those double standards, I am labeled as difficult. So, and when I have spoken about virtue signaling and performative behaviors, I'm, told I'm being ridiculous. So I'm going to read you a quote from someone's Facebook talking about virtue signaling. So this person wrote back in last month when all the stuff with Burnt Island Games happened and I called people out for their virtue signaling. She wrote, virtue signaling equals publicly expressing opinions or sentiments in order to demonstrate one's good character or moral correctness. So when you see someone use that word, remember, they're accusing people of being moral and expressing themselves publicly. That's it. No. When someone says that you are virtue signaling, we are not accusing you of being moral, and it's quite the opposite, actually. We're basically saying that you are saying you're moral, you are saying you're correct, and just basically that's it, and you're not living up to it. You're not doing the actions to prove it. And that is exactly what this person said in their post yesterday. It's performative. It's when you say that you are for inclusivity and diversity and all these other things, and then you clearly have double standards in the industry, you discriminate against certain people, and then to justify your discrimination and bigotry, you say that that person is difficult. There's a really good talk about this, a podcast, which I will put a link to in the description below, because I really think that a lot of people in this industry need to listen to it, which basically, encapsulates a lot of people on board game Twitter who are stuck in their echo chambers, who think that they are the most moral and superior beings, but then their actions don't necessarily prove it. Bullying and harassing people that you perceive to be not like you is not a good thing. It's not a moral thing. It's not a correct thing by any means. And so when you claim to be for a diversity and inclusivity and you use these methods which go against, which don't embody that virtue, then yeah, I'm going to call you people out for virtue signaling, and this person did as well. And I don't see this person getting attacked for using the term virtue signaling, which I was. So when this person posted on Facebook this post that I just read to you, someone actually wrote, "Yo, Sarah Shaw wants her phrase back," and then people were commenting on that. So apparently I'm associated with the term virtue signaling, and the person who wrote, "Yo, Sarah Shaw wants her phrase back," is one of the people who was harassing people, harassing me all over the internet, was posting stuff on YouTube, on Facebook, on Twitter, everywhere, calling me a TERF and basically trying to convince people that I'm a dangerous person. And that's why Helena would not, did not want me reviewing a game, which, if you listen to the conversation, again, not true. So yeah, so I just wanted to address that, and I just wanted to read a Twitter post from someone in this industry to show how seriously insane some of these people are, because they cannot see how the things they say apply to them. So this person wrote, "I've come to the conclusion that fandom is one of the most dangerous forces in this website. Once you align your identity with being part of a group, your morals, values, and behavior come from wanting group acceptance. inevitably this will include who your enemies are. Yes, and the people who, this person who wrote this, it applies to him and all the people in his group who so desperately want to be accepted in this group that they will engage in bullying and harassing behaviors. It's insane. This person wrote, let's see, I'm going to skip over a couple of tweets, and then they wrote, that's deeply dangerous because you don't have any sense of personal self. Your entire worth comes from being part of the group. Just like white supremacists, fascist gamers, and those fucks who fly their country flags on their vehicles. Great, but you know what? This applies to you guys too. Just because you think that you are on the right side of things does not mean you don't fall into this groupthink patterns that happen. You do. And again, I'm going to link a talk below, which I think people need to listen to. A lot of people need to listen to, because it really talks about how dangerous it is to be in an echo chamber where you all are just talking up each other and congratulating each other for having these opinions and putting down anyone who doesn't have the same opinions as you or doesn't behave in the same exact way as you do. Although that's not to say that I don't behave in a proper way, because actually I don't believe these people behave in a proper way. But yeah, to put down anyone because they are not just like you, that's not right. That's not good. And these people will, start to, really egg each other on and bullying other people on Twitter, on the internet. And when you're egging people on and you are, congratulating each other for doing the kinds of behaviors that you engage in, that is what this person is basically speaking out against. So it really boggles my mind how these people will post these things and not see how it actually applies to them as well. It's really just baffling, honestly. I just want to talk a little bit about echo chambers and not, interacting with people who have different opinions than you. And I want to speak about a personal experience. So as I've mentioned many, many times now, I'm Muslim, and I grew up in a household, of Muslims. I was raised Muslim, and my parents were immigrants to this country. And so my mom attends the gym regularly. She's been attending the gym for many, many years. She goes every morning. And when I came back from, I think it was law school, I was home during winter break or something, and I wanted to just attend the gym with her. So she got me like a guest membership so I could go with her in the mornings. At this time, Obama was still president, I believe. Yeah, Obama was president, and I was going to law school, and my mom, is Muslim. People can tell she's an immigrant, and when she was at the gym, she would be sure to just talk with everyone and just try to be friendly to everyone, as I do as well. Like when I'm out and about, I like to interact with strangers on a daily basis. I like to get into little conversations, which I just did yesterday while I was buying bubble tea. I got into a really nice conversation with a stranger who I'll never see again, and I love that. I love being able to interact with people. Do I ask them right then and there, what is your political identity, affiliation? What do you think about Muslims? What do you think about Black people? What do you think about this? No, I don't care about any of that when I'm interacting with another human. I just want to have a human interaction. And I think positive human interactions just make you feel better, and they can brighten your day. So at the gym, my mom, one of her gym friends turned out to be what I perceived to be a racist. But the thing is, am I going to all of a sudden be like, oh, put this person down or try to get away from them? No, I wanted to talk to this person, try to understand where they're coming from, and just try to have a civil conversation and explain where I'm coming from. And at the end of the day, we don't have to be friends with each other, but we can still be civil towards each other. And my mom told me that there are a number of people at the gym who know she's Muslim, and she could tell that they were kind of racist towards her and had a lot of views that were racist and bigoted, but she continued to be nice to them. And it makes a difference, because these people then came to her and would tell her, you're not like all Muslims. Like I used to believe that, or now I know that not all Muslims are a certain way. I used to think that Muslims were what I saw on TV, but now I know from having worked out beside you for X number of months, years, whatever, that's not true. And so that's why I think it's extremely important to just not surround yourself with people just like yourself, people who only have the same mentality as you about certain things, because then there's going to be no growth in this world. There's not going to be any room for anyone expanding their minds. Like, it's just not going to happen. And is that what we really want? I don't think so. I don't think that's the goal that people, I don't think that should be the goal. So that's why I think it's important to not create echo chambers. Whether you're a liberal, whether you're a conservative, you need to surround yourself with people who have different views than you. I'm a legal aid attorney. I'm a liberal. I have lots of clients who I serve, who I, advocate zealously for, who are Trump supporters, still Trump supporters, even though Trump is no longer president. And it's very obvious when, I'm talking to them. Does that mean I'm going to give them lesser representation? No, I'm going to give them the best representation I can give them, because number one, it's my job. And I believe that no matter who you are, even if the person is a Trump supporter, I need to give them the best representation I can. And maybe one day they will see the value in all these things that, they may have been against. It's kind of ironic, yes, that these people will come and seek legal aid, because my job is funded from federal funds and state funds, and we're a nonprofit, and a lot of conservatives are against things like this, but I still help these people, and by doing that, maybe it will help change their mind about something later down the road. You don't know. So I just think creating echo chambers, no matter which side of the political spectrum you are on, is a dangerous thing, and I don't advocate for it. And I think when you try to create an environment where only people just like yourselves who agree on everything that you agree 100%, I just think that's wrong. It's not a black and white world, and I feel like certain people in the board gaming industry are trying to make it very black and white, but that's not reality. We do not live in a black and white world, and people are not all good and they are not all bad, and I just don't understand why people cannot see this. It's just really mind-boggling to me. Anyway, so that's all I really want to say for today. So yeah, if you guys have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments below, and once again, thank you for tuning in. Until next week, bye.